We talked about this yesterday, how each one of these problems had the same answer, but in a different place value. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. And we said that since this one's showing tenths, that we would show tenths in the answer. And since this one's showing hundredths, we would show hundredths in the answer, okay? And there are some times when this won't work. So I'm going to share with you a strategy right now. And is your page blank or do you have area models on it?
Blank.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a strategy right now that is a little different than just figuring out how many decimal place values you have, okay? So this is, we're just going to take the decimal out completely and multiply with the standard algorithm. So go ahead and write that down. But instead, I can't take a decimal out and not do anything, can I? Because 51 is different than 5.1. So we're going to call it 51 tenths. Is that the same thing as 5.1?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. So 51 tenths. Okay. Now let's multiply. 6 times 1. 5 times 6.
30.
Okay. And this is going to be 306 tenths. Now I'm going to get my place value chart. We won't use it very often, but I'm going to get the place value chart and take a look at how I would write 306 tenths on here. So when I write 306, I'm going to start with the 6, and it goes in what place value?
1.
Okay, I'm going to repeat the question.
Oh.
I'm going to start writing with the 6, and what place value does it go in?
The hundreds.
What's your place value on there? Tenths.
Oh.
So I'll put the 6 in the tenths place. Then I'll just write 306 like that. So 306 tenths is the same thing as what, boys and girls? 30.6 or 30 6 tenths. Okay? So when I take the decimal out, I have to make sure and put it back in my answer. Okay? Now I'm going to show you what this is very similar to. We worked on it yesterday right here. Remember we took 4 times 2 tenths and wrote the answer as 8 tenths here. Then I went back over and I wrote the answer with a decimal. That's all we're doing. We're just using the standard algorithm instead of doing it across. Okay? So let's take a look at the next one. So 11.4 times 4. So I'm going to take the decimal out and write 114 what?
114 tenths.
Tenths. Times 4. And just multiply using the standard algorithm. 4 times 4? 16. Regroup the 1. 4 times 1 plus 1.
5.
And 4 times 1.
4.
Now I have to go ahead and write the word tenths on there because this is unit form. Okay, so how do I write that with the decimal in it, Emily? 45.6. So the 6 is still in the tenths place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do the next one. This will be 78 what?
10 tenths.
78 tenths times what?
3.
Okay. 8 times 3? Hope not.
24.
24. 7 times 3
21.
plus 2 more.
23.
So 234 tenths. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the place value chart for a minute. So 234 tenths. The 4 will be in the tenths place. Then the 2 and the 3. So Vaughn, your answer, how do I write it as a decimal?
23.4.
Okay. Or 23 and 4 tenths. Okay? Fist to 5 on that method. Pretty easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
fourth grade multiplication, but we're adding in decimal place value, and we already know that, don't we? Okay, so let's take a look at the next one. Now, this is saying, hey, we can use an area model if we need to, but I've got a better plan. Obviously, we're going to have 1, 2, 4, 8 for our answer here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how I'm going to solve this problem of trying to figure out which one it is. I'm going to round this decimal right here to the nearest whole number. Now remind me what I do when I round to the nearest whole number. By the way, these two squiggle lines mean I'm rounding. You like it? I do too. Okay, so remind me how to round to the nearest whole number. Anybody remember we did a sprint a while back on that?
Oh.
Okay, Abigail, you want to give it a try?
Yeah, like if it's 5, it goes above, and if
Okay.
it's below, it
Do you
stays the same.
remember how we underlined the tenths
Oh,
place?
yeah. Mhm.
Just the tenths place, okay? So the 1 is less than the midpoint, right?
So it stays-
So the 3 stays the,
Same.
so go ahead and write, I'm rounding, 3.12 to 3, taking it times 4. What's my answer? 12. Okay. So which one of these is closest to 12 ones? Because my answer is 12 ones.
1248.
12.48,
Yeah.
12 and 48 hundredths. Okay? That's correct. So that's my answer.
Oh.
That's a pretty simple way to do it, isn't it? Now, could I use that, who's the one that told me how they, can't even remember, Emily. Maybe, I don't know.
The one that said the round?
No, the decimal place values. We just look at those. Was it somebody in this block?
I think it was-
On the last page. I don't remember. We'll keep going. So this one, do you see that I could use that trick of, hey, let's underline those 2 digits to the right of the decimal, and then find the answer with 2 digits to the right of the decimal. And it will probably be right, okay? But sometimes it's not. Like on this one, it might not work, okay? So let's round 3 and 22 hundredths to the nearest whole number. So which one
3.
will I underline?
2.
The
Tenths.
2. The tenths place, good. The tenths place, the 2 is above or below.
Below.
So the 3 stays the,
Same.
so 3 times 5.
15.
Write that down. Did you already do it?
Yep.
I know. Okay, so which one of these answers is closest to 15 ones?
16.1.
16.1. Okay, now I noticed something. I noticed that if I would have used that trick of underline the 2 decimal place values, I would have got the wrong answer. And do you know why?
Because they're not whole numbers?
No? Because this really ends with a 0 and we took the 0 off.
Oh yeah.
Remember sometimes I said this won't work if you have to erase the 0? Okay, let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to take 3 and 22 hundredths times 5. What's 2 times 5?
10.
Look, I'm going to have a 0. 2 times 5 is 10, add 1 more. 11, right? 3 times 5.
15.
So if I do my 2 decimal place values here, it's 16.10. But when they gave us the choice, they didn't put the 0 on, did they? So here's what I want to tell you. Rounding is probably going to be more accurate for you than counting decimal place values. Got it?
But
Okay. So let's take a look at the next one. What will I round this 3.42 to? 2.
3.
3. Why do you say 3?
Because it's in the lowest place.
True. But why not 4?
Because 4 is lower than 5.
4 is lower than the midpoint. Okay? So we'll round it to a whole number of 3. And your answer to that is
12.
what?
18.
Oh, good. Okay. So 3 times 6 equals 18, right? So this is 2,000. This is 2 ones. This is 20 ones. And this is 205 ones.
20.52.
Just worked out they were all the third one, weren't they? It wasn't planned. Okay, let's do the next one. Now, hopefully I left your area models off, did I?
No.
Well, mine are off. This is the same thing, but it's a little harder. Okay? And I noticed we're up to the thousandths place this time. Have you noticed that? So we're going to be looking for numbers that are 3 decimal place values, most likely. Okay, first of all, before I round this number 733 thousandths, is it more or less than 1 whole? More or less than 1 whole?
More.
Okay, let me put that on the place value chart and let's double check this, okay? So I have 733 thousandths. Now I'm going to ask the question again. Is it more or less than 1 whole? Less. Okay. So if you said less the first time, you were correct. They're trying to trick you here, aren't they? Yeah. By giving you a big number and making you think it's more than 1 whole. But it's not. So if I multiply a number that's less than 1 whole times 4, probably going to get a number that's less than 4.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, so that's logic. Using logic, which one of these would be less than 4? 2.932. Okay? Let's see if that works when we're doing our rounding. Okay? So if I underline the tenths place here,
Bump it up 1.
I'm going to have to bump it up 1, so the 0 becomes a 1 times 4 equals 4. Is 2 and 932 thousandths closest to 4? Yes, it is. Okay. Also, I notice my decimal place values match. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Here's the next one. Okay. So this number is about 10. What's 10 times 4?
40.
40. Which one of these is closest to 40?
42.932.
Okay. So we'll see if that works out when we round this. So round 10 to the nearest whole number. 7 is above or below the midpoint.
Above.
So the 0 becomes,
1.
so 11 times 4. Write that down.
44.
So is 42 and 932 hundredths
Yes.
closest to the whole number of 44? Do you like this method of figuring
Yes.
these out?
Yes.
Pretty fun, isn't it? Okay, look at the next one, okay? This number is a little more than 5. So 5 times 4 is what?
20.
Okay, so let's round it to the nearest whole number. I noticed they're all 7s in the tenths place. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
So for me, 7 is above or below the midpoint? Above. So my 5 becomes a,
6.
so 6 times 4.
Oh.
24.
Okay. So this is 22 ones, 229 ones, 2,293, or 22,000.
22.932.
Okay. So fist to 5 on using that rounding method. Okay? It's actually my favorite way to do this type of activity. We could multiply it out with the area model, but I don't think we need to.
No.
It's not that difficult.